Hello and welcome to another StarCraft 2 co-op video. Today we'll be looking at another post from a Chinese forum about the upcoming mutation. This week's mutation is a bit difficult. Many of these commanders' skill levels can be tested with just one mutator, which is Rifts. Not important. I'm not exactly sure what the sentence says, but it's not important. With Void Rifts, at A20, be prepared to deal with rifts that are in crappy areas. For example, right at the front of the middle base, in the back of the middle base, in the bottom right of the third area, and also behind the bonus in the open spaces. Second, power overwhelming will make pushing a lot more difficult. So if your commander uses like units, or if your commander's units are blocked by PDDs, then it will be a lot worse for you. And power overwhelming even ignores cloaked and super cloaked units. Units that are afraid of this include but are not limited to Zagara's units, Han and Horner's strike fighters, Zeratol's stalkers. If the enemy is Terran, they're going to have a lot of enemies in the front, and with power overwhelming, they'll be even stronger. If your skill level is not high enough, I suggest going in as a duel. Have one person dedicated to dealing with rifts. Recommended commanders: Abathur P0 or P2. Use the old school anti-rift tools, which are brutalists. And since there are no environmental mutators, they should be just fine. They have a lot of HP, which can withstand power overwhelming. The strategy is the same. Get a fast Brutalist, and then Brutalists will split up and deal with rifts. And then after dealing with rifts, they go home to get healed by Queens. If you're unlucky and a rift spawns in the fourth area or within the third area, you can have the three Brutalists go there together and then take care of it at once. Do not go in one at a time. However, if they use Black Hole on you, then bye-bye. If you have extra firepower, if you have the resources, you can burrow some full biomass swarm hosts and attack the bases. You burrow them near the bases, the thrashers, and you just attack, and they will slowly clear. And if with your extra money, don't forget to make some spine crawlers at home. For the first thrasher, you can put a spine crawler at the bottom left, just one. I don't know why, but even if it gets shocked by the thrasher, nothing happens. So the spine crawler can just freely kill the thrasher. In a duel, if this method doesn't work, then leave it to your ally. After this, for P0, if your enemy's not Terran, you can go around the back and use Leviathans, adding Guardians to deal with the Thrashers. If you are P2, make some swarm hosts and push in with Leviathans from the front. Even though swarm hosts are not very good at pushing, they will waste the energy of Amon from power overwhelming, and it will make things a lot easier for the Leviathans. The pressure on the Leviathans will be relieved. Even if they don't do much, they will still waste Amon's energy. Regardless of which one you choose, Abathur is a commander that needs a bit of practice. If you haven't tried it before, you should practice. Here are some references. For Dahaka P2, start with the economic opener, which is you get up to 13 drones and then you get your tech. And then when your warden is up, make 2 Zerglings and uproot the warden and go with Dahaka to attack a rift and then break the rocks. For the attack waves, the pack leaders will take care of them. During the mid-game, you will just keep massing Impalers until you reach about 100 supply. And before A20, you should make 1 Mutalisk to go around the back right to the bonus, and then to the back of the 4th area. That way, you get rid of the Fog of War, and at the end, you can fly all the way to somewhere in the 4th base. This way, when the A20 rifts spawn, if they spawn in bad areas, you can use the Greater Primal Worm to take care of them. Afterwards, you can make lots of swarm hosts and just send them at the objective. Remember to turn off autocast so that you don't waste your shots on the trickles. When you reach the encampments, you can use a pack leader to draw aggro plus power overwhelming spells. Remember that even though impalers are burrowed, they can still be targeted by spells. For the first Thrasher, when you have time, use the Haka plus impalers to get rid of it. For the second Thrasher, Mervar will take care of either the 9-minute or 10-minute wave, and then just while she's there, go attack the second area. The third one, you should have enough swarm hosts or creeper hosts to deal with them. Lone Wolf. This is the commander that I found the most solos for when looking for examples of other runs. Most of these players use the same method. Tychus is the guy who pushes into the bases and deals with the early attack waves. Sam goes around to get the far rifts. Sirius defends the base and any close rifts. For the first, this is not 12, this is first and second Thrashers. The first and second sets of Thrashers, Tychus just attack moves to them. For the third one, you can drop a nuke from the Odin to clear the area. As long as you don't get any early far rifts, Lone Wolf is actually pretty easy. But Lone Wolf really does not have a way to just fly over and reach the far rifts, so he just has to stay back and defend against the trickles. This will take away some of the player's APM and attention. I played this about 20 times, and every time there will be 2 to 4 far rifts from 820 to 940, should be 950. And then when I'm trying to defend these, I'll lose track, and then it's game over for me. As long as you don't get crappy rifts during these two timings, it should be easy, right? Update. For the 4th and 5th Outlaws, they will just be Vega and Nux. For the 4th one, if your ally is more proactive with clearing rifts, then use Nux to spawn camp the enemies, most likely the left side. If you have to deal with crappy rifts that are far away, Vega is better. Vega doesn't need any equipment, and he can just steal the enemy units, and they will have the Lone Wolf buff with the half damage. So it's very good. For the 5th one, when I played this at first, I used Rattlesnake as the 5th one, and I got soloed by a PDD. If you have the APM, maybe Cannonball might be better, ? The rest of these are just theory crafting. Zeratul P0. Power overwhelming makes this less convenient for Zeratul to spin around. And the 3rd artifact fragment might be in the 4th area, and you're likely to just get hit by power overwhelming and die. And when there are crappy rifts, you need Zeratul to fly over there to take care of them. So the answer is naturally going to be P0. For the early game, you want ambushers plus shield guards. After 2 to 3 ambushers start getting shield guards. They can destroy PDDs that will wreck your ambushers, plus they help your ambushers recover shields. In the early game, when you use ambushers to deal with rifts, make sure that they are behind the shield guards. If one of the first rifts is behind the first Thrasher area, I suggest not going there and just waiting for the hero to spawn. During the mid game, spread some DTs to deal with rifts, and for the far rifts, Zeratul can use the Void Seeker and teleport to there. At home, leave some monoliths and cannons and use the yellow avatar to push into bases. Karax P3, you will spread 3 workers, 1 to each expo and 1 to go around the back to the back of the first Thrasher. Remember at 220, you need to move around to different screens really quickly, because if any units spawn, with power overwhelming, it's a death sentence for your workers. Afterwards, put a few cannons at home, and then defense will be pretty relaxed. In the mid game, if your ally is pushing really well, I suggest just spreading observers everywhere and focus on defense. When your ally is pushing, you just help them out with some solar lances. If your ally is not good at pushing, then make some phoenixes or mirages, and 1, they can quickly fly to far rifts to take so that you can take care of them too. As long as the Thrashers are being hit, they will be aggroed and they will not attack the fortress. Last time when there was diffusion and just die, the Mirages can just stall the Thrashers even to like 30 minutes. Manx P3 puts some ESOs in the middle, leave some blue guns in bunkers to defend the bases plus the ESOs, and when there are far rifts, then you need to, because of power overwhelming, you just need to dump a few more troopers than usual. I do not recommend these. Han and Horner, Stukov, Nova. So when you are dealing with rifts, your strike fighters or banshees might get soloed by PDDs or power overwhelming. Nova P3 Super Cloak will get revealed by like fungal growth and then she'll be attacked. The week after is Chaos Studios on the map I hate the most, Vermilion Problem. This is all based on luck. If there's even something like a blizzard, then your workers are screwed. This is another mutation where you can regroup your forces, and both players can regroup their forces. Rainer, you're right. I am afraid of power overwhelming, but I can rain units from the sky to deal with the rifts. In the early game, more mules, make lots of marines, and clear the rifts near your base to make it easier for your ally to move out, and then use battle cruisers to deal with far rifts. What about power overwhelming? Well, just throw more stuff at it. Kerrigan, hero only, kill everything. If you make units, you're just gonna get black hole. Your Ultralisks and Omega Worms can draw a lot of aggro, and your Omega Worms allow you to move across the map super fast. Artanis, your invincibility shield allows you to take another hit from power overwhelming. So this is probably Guardian Shell. Get lots of vision and then be prepared to warp in a Tempest at any time. Swan, don't even think about attacking, but on defense, you'll be fine. Put towers at home and then use Hercules to teleport and use the drill on the objective. Zagara, you're going to lose a lot of stuff. If you really have to make a lot of units, send in Zerglings first to waste their power overwhelming, and then use Banelings to take out the objectives. Carax, what a coincidence. I have more than 2 hands. Put towers at home and then Spear of Adun, go, go, go. Nova, there are lots of methods to just destroy the enemies without losses. However, when dealing with rifts, that's another question. Abathur, I am not fast, but I am very consistent. Vorazun, give me a bunch of DTs and I can destroy everything within 20 seconds. However, I'm gonna be wrecked by black holes from power overwhelming. Han Horner, husband, this time you will have to destroy the bases. The Reapers are really afraid of power overwhelming. They should just stay back and be a cheerleading squad for his and her, the his and her passive. Stukov, his early game is very lacking. However, he has a prestige called Lord of the Horde, which is not afraid of power overwhelming. Alarak, although he doesn't have good reach, but his head-on capabilities are pretty good. For close rifts, if they're near him, he can just take care of them while he's attacking, and for far rifts, let your ally deal with them. Then use Supplicants and Ascendants, empower me. Tychus, this is just basic multitasking. Dahaka, P2, win. Dahaka and 3-pack leaders will just go all everywhere, and then they're gonna attack the rifts, and then absorb some power overwhelming spells, and then rush the bases. The creeper hosts just keep sending creepers at the enemy. Keep checking the cooldown. Once the cooldown is done, then send them off. Phoenix, I don't care where you are. The Rock Slapper is just gonna charge into the bases and the bases will be gone. You can even have all 6 champions fight together. Manx, troopers rain from the sky. Even though Manx will have to spend a lot of troopers dealing with rifts, I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means. Something about roll call. I don't get what this means. I suggest using the Zergling call down to when you have full energy on a base to waste all their power overwhelming spells, and energy, and then use your royal guards to charge in and finish them off. What ESOs? There's no one who plays Manx and doesn't use ESOs, right? Stedman, you will suffer a bit more losses than usual, but they're acceptable. You can use Infestors to throw roaches, or just use Zerglings and charge in directly. There's no difference at all. Either way, for far rifts, you will need Super Gary to deal with them anyways. Zeratul P3 is very bad, so I suggest you don't use that. You can try P2 and cannons. Cannon projections aren't affected by power overwhelming, and they have high damage, lots of armor, and they can be healed by shield guards. Spread your observers, and I have no idea what this means. Something about Tychus can see it from far away. I don't get what that means. Let Amon see that you are the best. You are actually the best one at this. Zeratul cannot trap the artifact on this map, right? Oh, really? I have not played P2 in a long time, so I don't remember. And another person says, you really can't. That's why I said you should pick P0. For P2 on Void Thrashing and Lock and Load, it's easy for you to put yourself in a hellish situation. If a rift spawns in the middle of a big base, if you want to get it, then you have to go by yourself. With power overwhelming, you kind of have to just leave it there. And you might not necessarily get it in one try. And if you don't get it, you will need to spend another Void Seeker just to go there again. And it's kind of bad. For Lock and Load, if a rift spawns in the top left or bottom right, either one of those bases, if Zeratul goes in, you're going to activate their AI and they're going to keep sending enemies to try to capture the locks. For Lone Wolf, if you switch Nux with Rattlesnake, it might be easier. Nux needs at least 2 of his gears in order for him to be useful, and his regular attack is among the weaker ones. So he is one of the worst at clearing rifts. Even Vega is better than him. If you really want to use him, then you can use him to clear grouped up enemies in the bases and treat him as half a Tychus. Rattlesnake's regular A attack is really powerful against armored units. With his Stimpaks, he's a muscle, plus he has the healing stick. He's actually the best at clearing rifts among the 9 outlaws. For attack waves, whether it's Tychus just destroying them while he's already there, or whether you have to send Sirius there, it should not be very difficult to deal with. The other outlaws will be pretty much the same as the OP. Make sure that they are spread far apart so that each part of the map is controlled by somebody. And Tychus alone will attack the bases. If he is near one of the attack waves, then he can just destroy it while he's there. Sirius can assist with attacking the bases and dealing with attack waves, but if there's a far rift, then he will have to protect the bases. When you are dealing with rifts, throw down 2 turrets and then attack the rift directly, and then that's it. Sam focuses on rifts. It's best if you get the D gear, which is the super cloak, and then you can rush to the rifts. And if the rifts are in a far area, you can just throw the grenade and then pick them up with the medevac and go somewhere else. For Rattlesnake, he can focus on the rifts. Give him the C gear, which is the Stimpaks, to increase his movement and attack speed. And this increases his effectiveness. This might be a problem with my habits, so I'm used to this regarding outlaw choice. For me, when I use Nux as the 3rd outlaw, I just buy the double radius one, and then I don't buy any of his other gears until the 5th outlaw. And at this time, the enemy attack waves are tier 3 to tier 4. Nux with 3 outlaws with the buff, his storm does about 35 damage a second and they stack, which is enough to deal with attack waves. Nux can also spawn camp, so this is more suited to my playstyle. I am too lazy to determine like whether to use Sirius to defend the main base or natural. From my experience, Sirius just defends the main base and the rifts near them. And just with that, his turrets are pretty much used up anyways. If the rifts are along the way, a Nux that is the 4th outlaw will have 3 armor, and with the Lone Wolf damage reduction, he can pretty much just walk towards the rift, ignoring all the trickles along the way, and then just attacking the rift directly since there's no transmutation. When simply comparing Nux and Vega's regular attacks, when you don't take light enemies into consideration, Vega's unit only does 2/3 of the damage that Nux does. Vega is better than Nux when dealing with light units. Vega also needs the mind control units damage in order to beat Nux. For the 5th outlaw, I used Rattlesnake, bought the stim packs, and he and Sam just patrolled the map dealing with rifts. Update. I looked up some solos for Lone Wolf, and the ratio of Vega to Nux as the 4th outlaw is 2-1, so maybe I am part of the minority. And now that I think about it, if there are far rifts, Vega is the right answer to use. Vega can take control of some of the enemies to help deal with the trickles and rifts. And that's it for this post. What advice do you have for this mutation? Comment it down below and I'll see you next time.